Two people are in custody after a chase across state lines that ended along Cass County Road 17. A Clay County deputy had initially been trying to stop that vehicle for speeding, but the driver took off. Jerry Belgard was arrested in Cass County, but then the other person in the car jumped into the driver's seat and took off himself. Michelle Perona was later arrested and taken to the hospital to be checked out. A former Minneapolis police officer who fatally shot an unarmed woman after she called 911 will be resentenced today on a manslaughter count. Mohammed Noor was initially convicted of third-degree murder and manslaughter in the July 2017 death of Justine Ruzcek-Damon. He was sentenced to 12.5 years on that murder count, but the Minnesota Supreme Court threw out that murder conviction last month. Now, he could now face anywhere from 41 to 57 months in prison under sentencing guidelines, but he could be out on supervised release within months because of time he has already served. Damon had called police for help to report that she heard a possible rape happening behind her home. Noor fired at Damon from inside his squad car when she approached the vehicle from behind. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension says Noor and his partner were startled by a loud noise just before they saw Raymond. Several apartments and 3 businesses are damaged or destroyed after a massive fire in Wadena, Minnesota. It started near the post office just after 11 yesterday morning when flames were seen shooting from the 2nd floor. 7 people are displaced. One of them tells us that a stranger stepped up to give him a coat when he had to evacuate without one.
I'm incredibly thankful for all the community help and just everybody.
No one was hurt in the fire. The cause is still under investigation. It's a cold start to our morning, just as you forecast, Lisa. I mean, I'm sorry, I was hoping you'd be wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
There are some days I wish I was wrong too, but today we are looking at some conditions that are frigid out there. First alert weather day, looking at some numbers that are going to be well below freezing as you step out the door. And this is a date to pay attention to. May 28th, earlier this year, that was the last day both Fargo and Grand Forks had dropped to freezing. Up until this point, we hadn't been there yet. So more than 5 months, close to 6 months ago. And that was, of course, the case until last night, where we saw those temperatures really start to dip. And it's a cold morning in Grand Forks now. We're looking at temperatures there. Some of our lowest numbers in the valley at 25 degrees. So well into the freezing range, and not just freezing, but a hard freeze, a killing freeze happening this morning. Fargo's at 27 and Thief River Falls checking in at 28. Bemidji, another one of those spots into the mid-20s, 25 degrees there. And Fergus Falls is at 28. We're looking at 26 in Devil's Lake. So a cold morning everywhere. Most of us have dropped into the 20s. We've got that rain that's moved on, and looking at some conditions that are on the partly cloudy to mostly clear side at the moment, giving us a nice view of that nearly full moon. It was full yesterday, but most of us had cloudy skies. It's the Hunter's moon this month, nice and bright. Here in Grand Forks, again, looking at conditions that are going to stay chilly through the day. We're cold this morning. We'll stay below freezing for the next few hours, I would say, probably beyond that 9 o'clock hour, closer to 10. We'll start to see those numbers climb above into lunch hour, more into that 40 range, and then into the afternoon we'll be climbing into the mid 40s with a mix of some clouds and some sunshine. So temperatures are going to be in that range here that will warm a little bit more in those places that get a little bit more sun. Wind is out of the north, and the good news is that even though it's a cooling wind, it won't be as strong as recent days. We're looking at winds staying under 20 miles per hour. So today looking frigid. Tomorrow, Saturday, look at these morning lows into the sub-freezing range both mornings. So it's a long stretch here, a few days where we've got this colder air in place. And even Sunday will be cool, but we'll be starting to turn things around. There'll be a chance for some showers with that change happening. So this weekend, if you're planning to do some things outdoors, I would say Saturday is the better day as far as keeping dry. And it'll be a little milder on Sunday, even if it's just by a degree. And then next week, we do see those temperatures recovering. Morning lows staying above freezing for several days, and our highs getting more into the 50s to some low 60s. So if you're not liking this, we still have some opportunities to warm up a little bit here. Eventually, though, we know what's coming. So, and it had to get to freezing at some point this season. We've held it off for quite some time.
Okay. Yeah, we knew it was coming for sure. Still kind of has a little bite to it, though. Thank you, Lisa. The Fergus Falls school superintendent says face masks will no longer be required in schools starting on Monday. The change comes after a packed school board meeting last week, with dozens of parents marching through the streets to voice their opposition to the district's mask mandate. That requirement for students was set to expire on October 24th, but the board voted yesterday not to extend it. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is activating the National Guard to help support new community rapid COVID testing sites across the state of Minnesota, including locations in Moorhead and also in Crookston. You can take a test and get results within 3 hours. In Moorhead, rapid testing started yesterday at the former Edison Elementary School at 11th Avenue and 14th Street South. It's the same place where the state is running COVID spit tests. Hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 6, and Sunday from 11 to 4. Testing is free. Walk-ins are welcome. We're getting a clearer picture of what the controversial Africa restaurant and nightclub may look like when it reopens. The club found a buyer for its liquor license, and yesterday, Fargo's Liquor Control Board approved a recommendation to transfer the license. New owner Tyler Brandt only had a short amount of time to put together his plan for the business, so the Liquor Control Board didn't receive as much information as it normally would for a plan like this to be approved. The board approved his request with some conditions. The board wants new, solid ownership and management. When Brandt figures out the details requested, his plans will be reviewed by the Liquor Control Board again for approval. The matter would then move on to the full City Commission to decide if it's approved.
You know, it would be his risk if he bought this license and he comes with a bad application, etc., and we say, no, this isn't good enough, that's a suspension or a failure, we're not going to activate it. So I think there's probably some legal reasons also that we should do this based on past.
The city auditor says Brandt intends to name a manager first before figuring out what the business is going to look like. In our consumer alert this morning, federal health officials say onions imported from Chihuahua, Mexico are the source of a recent Salmonella outbreak. More than 650 people have fallen ill so far, with over 100 requiring hospitalization. The tainted onions were sold across the country between July 1st and August 27th under the ProSource Inc. brand. The FDA says people should throw away any red, yellow, or white onions that they have if they don't know when they bought them or where they were grown. You should also wash and sanitize any surfaces that may have come in contact with these onions. A customer at a convenience store in Yuma, Arizona wasn't having it when two boys tried robbing the place. You got to check this out. A man was just leaving the store right around 4 yesterday morning. Looks like an average Joe, right? Then all of a sudden, two masked men walked in with guns. They pointed guns at the cashier, and that's when that average Joe drops his car keys, tries slapping the gun out of the other guy's hands, hits him, and you can see it knocks him down. Two other suspects take off running. The customer detained the suspect until police arrived. Here you go. Turns out the customer who disarmed the kid is actually a former U.S. Marine who says the Marine Corps taught him not to mess around. Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Today's question: 10% of brides-to-be say they worry about this happening on their wedding day. The answer: uninvited or unwanted guests arrive. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but you can join us right now on the Fargo CW.